Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Easy Learning with Professor Ishma. I hope you have liked my previous video that's all for chapter 1 science 6th standard, and this video is the continuation of that's for chapter number 2. If you haven't seen that video, I've put a link in the description box, so you can click over there and you can watch that video. Also, before I start this video, just a small reminder: do like, share and subscribe to my channel.
In this video, I am going to cover Standard 6, Subject Science, Chapter number 2.
This chapter is divided into 2 parts, and this is the first part. For the second part, you can look into the description box.
Okay, so everyone just observe this picture. What do you see? How can we describe this picture in a single term or using a few words? Yes? So, I hope you all have got it, and that's the living world. So, each and every picture here represents an organism that is part of the living world. So, let us do a small activity. Can you classify the below images as living and non-living? So now I'm going to show you all a picture, and you'll have to identify how many living things are there. So for your convenience, you can just count the number of living things. I'm giving you a few seconds to do that. So now let's see how many of you all have got all of them correct. So match your answers with this picture and see whether all that living things that you all have counted are correct. Now tell me, children, why is the ship or the car considered as a non-living thing, and why did you consider a tree or a fish as a living thing? The answer is that living things show some characteristics that non-living things do not show. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about these characteristics that differentiate between living things and non-living things. Okay, now let us look at this picture. What does this picture show? The first shows a small puppy that has grown into an adult dog in its later stage of life, and a small baby that slowly, steadily has grown into a full-grown man. So the first characteristic that we are going to study is growth. So now what is growth? Growth is gain in weight, height and strength. So when there is a gain in weight, when you become taller or when you become stronger, that means growth has taken place. So let us see with a few examples. So a baby, when it is born, it is around 2.5 to 3 kgs. So what is your weight now? Your weight now will be around 20 to 25 kgs, right? Also the height, how tiny you were when you were born. But what about now, your height? So can you compare? You have grown taller. Also your strength. Now you can just pick up a chair and put it on the side. But what about when you were a baby? Could you even lift that chair? No. Okay. So next, animals, they grow up to a certain period. But whereas plants, they grow as long as they live. Why so? Now animals have bones in them. And why does our height grow? Because our bones grow. So after a certain age, when we reach at the age of around 20 years, 18 years, 20 years, that time our bone growth stops. So therefore we no longer grow in height. But in plants, the tips of the plants or the tips of the branch of the plants, they continuously grow. So they grow as long as they live. That is the reason we need to trim plants periodically, right? So therefore, growth is the characteristic of living things. Have you seen a car growing? if you have bought a car a few years back and now it has become bigger? No. So because the car is a non-living thing, it cannot grow. Now growth. What is the main thing that we need for growth? That is food. If we do not eat food, we will not grow in height, we will not grow in weight, and we will not become stronger. So therefore food is very necessary for growth. Now look at this picture. I know all of you all remember what is this picture you all have learnt in the last year. What does this picture signify? It is photosynthesis, the process of photosynthesis. Therefore this plant takes in carbon dioxide from the air, it takes the solar energy from the sunlight, it takes water and nutrients from the soil, and it has chlorophyll inside it, and using these four materials it prepares food. So the process of food production is called photosynthesis. The plants, they take sunlight and chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water, and prepare the food. Now why is this oxygen going out? Because after the food is prepared, extra oxygen is formed, which is given out from the leaves. Now do animals produce their own food? No. So they need to search for their food. Therefore there are various types of animals. Animals that eat plants, herbivorous animals. Animals that eat animals, carnivorous animals. And animals that eat plants and animals, they are called as omnivorous animals. So the intake of food and the resultant growth is an important characteristic of living things. We do not need to feed our table food, correct? But we need to feed a small puppy, a pet puppy, so that it can grow. The next characteristic that we are going to study is respiration. Now we all know that fish, they breathe using gills, and humans, they breathe using the nose, and then the oxygen goes into the lungs. So now what happens? What is breathing? Breathing is taking in air rich in oxygen and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide. So breathing is just a small part of respiration. Okay, so respiration includes breathing and breakdown of food. So inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, which is formed in the body due to the use of oxygen for the breakdown of food. Therefore, when we take that oxygen inside our body, that oxygen is used to break down the food and to give us energy. So each and every animal has a specific organ for respiration, which may be different from the other animals. So like how you see in the picture, fish have gills to breathe. We have nose and lungs to breathe. Earthworm will breathe through the skin. A frog has dual respiration or breathing techniques. In water or underwater, it will breathe through its skin. But when it is on land, it will breathe using the lungs. So thus, respiration is also a characteristic of living things. The next characteristic is excretion. So now children, when the food is digested or it is broken down using oxygen, some waste is generated. So this waste has to be removed out of the body of the living organism. So whichever living organism it may be any type of animal or it may be any type of plant. Every animal and every plant or every living organism needs to remove the extra or the waste products that are formed after the digestion of the food. So the process of eliminating waste from the body in the form of excreta is called as excretion. So the waste that comes out of the body is called as excreta. Now every animal has specific organs for excretion. So there is a special excretory system that helps to remove all the waste from the body. Now what about plants? We have never seen plants excreting waste. Have you all seen? Look at this picture. The first picture shows that there is gum coming out from the gum tree. Gum which is used, or rubber which is used to make various materials, is actually the excreta of the plant. It's the waste that comes out of the plant. The next picture, the top right, shows resin. Resin is also a gummy substance that is secreted by some plants. I'll go to the bottom left picture and also the bottom right picture, both showing droplets. Now what are these droplets? These droplets are also the waste that is excreted in the form of water droplets, which is removed out from the leaves of the plants. Hope you have understood this chapter. This video is continued in part 2 and I've put the link in the description box. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel.